Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the 249th week of the virtual Cobalt Cafe. My name is Rick Lupert. Happy to have you here for our weekly open reading, as well as to hear our featured poet, Memphis's own, Corey Mesler. I wasn't prepared to say Memphis's, I realized, so I just had to stumble over it there, but I think I got through it, and I think we're going to be okay. I'm really excited to have Corey with us. I've known Corey for a long time, but never this intimately. So this is going to be a great evening of poetry from Corey, as well as from the rest of you participating in the open reading. If you would like to read and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat, and I will be happy to add you to the list of people reading. As a reminder, just like Michael Hickey did. That counts as your acknowledgement, Michael, by the way. Think of all the typing I've just saved myself not having to type gotcha after that. It's all about streamlining, everyone. Anyway, if you're on the list, when it's your turn, you get to read up to 2 poems. That is the maximum amount of poems you can read in the open reading. And as always, our suggested time limit is less is more. Look it up. Less is more. They'll give you an exact time on the internet about what that means. So there you go. You should have the chat room open. The chat room, since everyone is muted, it's a great place for you to interact with each other and respond to the poems that you are hearing. If you mention something that you want people to click on, you can put the link in the chat as well. Send each other weird pictures and private messages, whatever you'd like to do in there. The chat room is open for you. Oh, I forgot to say this, really important. We have a 1-drink minimum here at the Cobalt. Make sure you have a beverage with you. Cheers to everyone drinking whatever it is that you choose to drink tonight. And there you go. I think that is everything that I need to tell you. We're launching a new phase of the Cobalt Poets, which we're going to do tonight, and we'll see how it works. And the phase is called I Forgot to Shut the Door to This Room, and I'm going to get up and go shut it now. So hold on a second, everyone. There you go. That was our new experimental phase. I forgot to shut the door of this room. I don't know if anyone else got to participate in that, but it's just something we're trying out tonight to see how it goes. Your feedback is welcome. All right. Having said all of that, before we get to our first open reader, are there any questions? Martin Parker, yes.
Good evening, Rick. I was just wondering if you have a favorite blossoming tree.
A favorite blossoming tree. I really like my lemon tree in the backyard, because when it blossoms, I know that I'm going to get lemons. But then it turns into kind of a difficult situation because there's too many lemons, and I don't know what to do with them. No one wants like 20 lemons. And like I can only make so much, lemon wedges for iced tea before I'm still over inundated. Anyway, that's too much. I'm going to say my lemon tree and its blossoms.
No problem. You can ship the lemons to me if you want.
Okay, send your address. I'll see what we can do, and if that's legal. Round of applause for Martin Parker, who's demanded that I send him produce. Let's see. Who else has a question? Cathabella Wilson, yes. Are you there, Cathabella? I'm clicking the ask you to unmute button, but you're not unmuting. What's happening? Click it again. Do you not see an invitation to unmute? Gosh, I think you're going to have to figure out how to unmute or click that button, because I don't know what's happening there. Are there any other questions while Cathabella's trying to locate the unmute button? Look at, she's frantically running to another part of her house, maybe the unmute area of her house. Do you guys have one of those? Yes, Ken, I know, we all know. I've been saying this the whole time. She needs to unmute. But I appreciate your support and solidarity by saying that in the chat as well. Oh, Cathabella, I don't know what's going on. All right, we're going to have to move on. This is not good radio, as it were. And I don't see any other questions, so we're going to move on to the open reading. At this point, Martin Parker, you will be our second reader. You are on deck. As already mentioned, please welcome our first reader, Martina Robles Gallegos. Hello, Martina.
Hello. Yes, I just realized I'm in a lot of pain, so we'll see. I'll discuss. Okay, so I have two, maybe only one. We'll see. The first one is called doing or being anything while brown. Can't be brown when law enforcement stops. Can't be brown when law enforcement officers stop you, or you could be arrested and jailed without explanation. Can't be brown if you're walking early in the morning, and you certainly can't be brown when walking late at night. Can't be brown when you have to get out and check your car because they decided it needed a break in the middle of nowhere. Can't be brown when you're stranded in nowhere streets and require assistance to find your way home. Sometimes asking for help gets you nothing but trouble. Brown won't get you any help when you knock on someone's door, but it can get you killed. Can't be brown and a woman who simply wants to get home safely and not be tortured or tormented by misogynist attitudes. Can't be a brown woman lost in the darkness of the night because any vulture will take you as prey. Can't be a brown disabled woman who can't walk straight and certainly can't respond to commands fast enough. Can't be a brown, black, or disabled person who can't speak clearly or loud enough without being seen as non-compliant. Can't be a brown, black, or disabled anyone wobbling and waddling around without people tossing insults your way. Can't be a black or brown, disabled, or autistic young person playing outside the house without neighbors calling the police. Can't even be a black or brown child playing with a toy gun in the backyard without being peppered with holes. Where are the de-escalators that will keep communities safe? Where are they getting their training to understand the communities? Our color and physical challenges want to trust law enforcement, but we can't be the wrong color or physical appearance to be safe in America. And that's the goddamn unfortunate truth nowadays. Thank you. Oops. Okay, one more. Okay, this one. Oops, no. Somebody asked us to write about sharks, so this is my stuff. Shark attack. For over 25 years, I've been under attack. At first, I thought it was the big bad wolf trying to tear me apart. I thought I was going to live the American dream of owning a home, but it turned out to be an absolute nightmare instead. The original big bad wolf was determined not to assign me a lot and was doing everything in his power to take away my dream. It was all an ugly, selfish, and premeditated but painful plot I lived through and hasn't stopped since. The big, bad, mean wolf morphed into a dangerous shark, a nasty beast that has had me under its spell. And I feel like I'm slowly drowning in the deepest tank. I've tried to shimmy out of the depths of the well, but the beastly shark keeps pulling me down. I can't think, can't breathe, can't smile, and only frown. I can no longer tell what's real or what's fake. I no longer enjoy the ocean, and the paddle feels like a deep lake. Can't even imagine watching sharks on the screen, because when I see one, I think it's coming at me. And all my brain wants to do is scream. I'm finding out wolves are actually gentler than sharks, and they don't attack viciously or take dreams away. Sharks, on the other hand, don't care who they attack, and they certainly don't care what they destroy. I'm trying to wake up from this nightmare that won't let me sleep, but the shark in it keeps chasing the not so bad wolf every day. And I'm left unprotected, and to the shark, I'm just prey. I hope one day I can finally awake and find myself surrounded by loving, gentle creatures again, because I'm tired of fighting the evil around me. Thank you.
Martina, thank you. Well done getting through that. And I hope that your pain clears up. Sorry to hear that you're in pain. And just so you know, you can be any color that you are here in Cobalt Poets. So I'm glad that you're here with us. And thank you so much for opening up our reading tonight. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Martina Robles Gallegos. On deck is Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. That was very powerful, Martina. I don't know how to follow that. I've got a couple lighthearted poems about spring, which don't seem to measure up. But this first one is one I wrote about 35 years ago, just playing with a particular word here. This is called The Swell of Spring. A pair of spring harbingers appears on the swell of ground or not rising up beneath the swell of their breasts so small and rosy red, hopping and skipping like the beat of my heart, then soaring across a space to small trees, coming like dots on top of those eyes, then flying away of their own free will, winging so softly over the swell, my heart has come to know so well. Then this is one from just a couple weeks ago, also about spring, slightly different viewpoint. This is called Spring Dilemma. The wind is bringing me pleasure and pain, the song of the robin born on the breeze with scents of flowers and gentle spring rain that feeds the weeds and blossoming trees, whose pollen can tickle and bother my nose and make my eyes itch and sinuses drain. Then rain turns to storm as a cool wind blows, and crackling thunder scrambles my brain, till fading away like the still morning dew, as the cycle of days begins anew. Like snow, but not cool, bothering my nose and eyes, pollen on the breeze. Thank you very much.
You did well following Martina Martin. Maybe it's because you almost have her name. Just one more A and you're going to make it, I think.
I always have to listen carefully. Is it me or Martina you're calling up next, Jens?
You do have to listen because, and I appreciate your attention in these matters as well. Martin, thank you so much for being here. Great job. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck is Scott Norman Rosenthal. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello. Hi. I have two poems tonight. The first is an old one. It's fun to read, so I don't know what it's called. Might not have a title. Okay. The danger in the flavor that your mouth knew before mine, the intoxicating nature of the fruit fresh from the vine, the weeping of our garden as we move on down the block, the music of our muscles as we sometimes forget to talk, the senses screaming sensual arguments with skin, the sky falling down around the stars we thought could spin. The awful anonymity we relished while we quieted our nighttime selves, kept our vanishing laughter in the closet on dusty shelves. The walks I wanted to take in a darkened slumber scene through the creek sides to the city down the hill of a hazy dream. The hands that didn't shake, the limbs that didn't break, the resolution to revolt, the time it took to make. Entwining of our minds, exhalations, divine spines, soaking comfort and kaleidoscope bed sheets, as asleep as canaries in mines. And then my other poem is new this week, and it's called Bone Dry. I eyed up the vultures before they had a chance to spot my gleaming bones. I gave them a peep show of my calcium conundrum as I danced between the ricochet of every dream you never had. Now I feel a siphoning, a surface level tightening, a wintered over feeling that the leaves get tucked inside when they're buried in the branches and they only know the snow. Now I've come to give you something better, something sweeter, something warmer than you ever thought you'd know. Now I've come to show you all the things I've been growing while you were busy sleeping, dreaming of the sun. This is not a desert, and I didn't come here crawling on my hands and knees, thirsty, perishing by the second, hardening like an artery, like wet cement gone dry, your eyes like a feedback loop I still get stuck in every time. I stared you down from 10 miles away before you knew my name and brought you here, starving sighs slipping from your lips, hungry for the food I'm made of. Thank you.
Carrie, thank you. Always solid work delivered in a solid manner from you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
No problem. Round of applause for Carrie Cox, everybody. 2 more readers than our featured reader, Corey Mesler. On deck is Jeffrey Bryant. Please welcome now Scott Norman Rosenthal. Hi, Scott.
Am I unmuted? Yes. Okay, I don't think I read this version yet because I think I just got it together. As near as I can remember. Let's see. What apartheid? What genocide? She shoulders her book bag. Grandmother's hijab hangs in the closet. On campus, she kisses her lover. 2 young women in shorts, in sunlight. Freedom is not genocide, nor is sunlight. The prophets of glory and death have killed the flowers of art and wealth. Homes are husks, memory forbidden. Shops are filled, coffers bursting. Deception starves the people. The world surrounds the billboards of history. After classes they walk, they chatter, free to be each other. And this one here, Blindness Within, this has also been expanded. Blazing from the east, blinds the young, bewilders the old. The bulk of the orange-haired ogre shelters the children. People do because they can. People die. They must. Sometimes there is nowhere but here. History shelters all. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Nice couple of poems you brought us tonight. Good to hear your work. Round of applause for Scott Norman Rosenthal. On deck, our featured reader, Corey Mesler. Please welcome now Jeffrey Bryant. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to read 2 poems that I just wrote recently in Holly Hardy's 30 Poems, 30 Days workshop. First one is called, actually it doesn't have a title. You lie on your stomach, and I travel in the valley of your back, where wild mustangs run in spring. Down the canyon you have that says, come, traverse my mystery, between walls of flesh. You've always been a planet, and I, your only moon. How on earth could we ever break up and orbit anything without the other for galactic order? The sun won't have it. The first night I experienced your seismic activity, you used words that wolves use when confronted with a moon, holding my terrain with pith helmet confidence. One of the great flesh explorers conquering for museums and the benefit of mankind. You colonized me through manhandling, planted your flag and scattered the micro-life that calls me habitat. I flew your flag, recited your pledge, fell into your blue-eyed dominance. I have a sea of tranquility too, warmer and with better gravity. You didn't seem to care. I learned moons and planets are codependent, and I can't get our couple's counselor on the phone. We're stuck. 5 billion years, the sun knows, sipping a daiquiri, watching its cute little system circle it, not a care in space. It too is dying. Come, lay with me, peak to peak. Let's not worry about being bound to a natural order. Get seismic on me. Find new faults along my length. Whisper me tornadoes. I'm old faithful if you give me time enough. The second one is from a prompt to write a poem about ice cream. It's called Flavors of Disappointment. Cherry Garcia, and it's pouring lies outside. I shouldn't have had to wear galoshes to our breakup. Tears flooding your rocky roads. A pint of half-baked sits in tundra, the flavor of sugary rationales. Our shredded love outside, all bloodied bones the wolves lick. I scrape the bottom of pint number 1 and think of the dead and your unbending commitment to patchouli and how the arc of that commitment bent towards our end. And I can't stop seeing the laughter of your eyes in the crackle of the fireplace. You were sheer cream lust in every first spoonful for a while, mixing flavors on our tongues and other anatomical serving suggestions. A whole pint of pure coffee rush in your every thrust, a raspberry sherbet to transition into afterplay. Until I found out about your tastes, your store brand waffle cone idea of a night out, a weekend away, the portent of a lifetime as sticky as a sink full of unwashed bowls. I pull comforters up over my head, barely caring if I get half-baked all over them, and watch the old Hollywood movies when the studios insisted on ice cream socials and happy endings. Thank you.
I don't know that ice cream has a poet laureate, but I very much would like you to be it, Jeffrey. That was a fantastic poem. The line, I scrape the bottom of pint number 1 and think of the dead. I think everyone in line at the Ben & Jerry's factory in Vermont should consider that line before they get their sample. Well done. That was a fantastic piece. Nice job.
Thank you.
I like the first one too. Get seismic on me. It's just like pickup line after pickup line in that poem. I hope some of those are working for you, my friend. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck after our featured reader will be Jennifer Elise Wang, which leads us now to our featured reader, Corey Mesler. I am so excited to have Corey with us tonight. I have known Corey since around the time that Vice President Al Gore invented the internet. He and I have been electronically commingling, mainly, I guess, through my Poetry Superhighway website. Corey is a Memphis resident. He runs the historic Burke's Bookstore, which was established in 1875 when Corey and I were only 23 years old. and he's been running it ever since then. I had the chance to go to Memphis and visit the bookstore. Corey chose that moment to, I think, have a high school reunion and not meet me there, which I've been terribly offended by ever since that particular instance. But then he was nice enough to write a blurb for my book, Hunka Hunka Howdy, which was partially written there. Speaking of writing books, he's published over 45 books of fiction and poetry, so you're going to need an empty shelf, ladies and gentlemen, to support our featured reader, Corey Mesler. He owns the bookstore with his wife, who's here with us in the congregation as well. Probably my favorite thing about Corey is that he's a fan of Richard Brautigan, who's my favorite writer. And I think that the sensibility of Brautigan shows up in his work sometimes, which I really enjoy. Those of you who come to Cobalt regularly know that often I acquire featured readers through the various weekly or daily poem emails that are out there. The Poem a Day email from Rattle, from Academy of American Poets. If you're so inclined, you can also sign up at Burke's Bookstore for Corey's Poem a Week from Burke Bookstore. Comes out on Mondays. Just another opportunity to get a poem that you might not have thought of in your eyes. Corey, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for being with us. Please welcome our featured reader, Corey Mesler.
Thank you, Rick. It's an honor truly to be here. Rick does more than 20 other poets to promote poetry and writing online, and I'm somewhat agog at all he does. He seems to live and breathe poetry, and I appreciate the invitation to come here and read to y'all. Thank you all for coming. A special thanks to both my children who showed up. I'm going to read some poems from my 3 most recent books. This book is called Vitamins for Yggdrasil. Came out last year from WordTech Editions. First poem is called World Full of Spooky. Well, they didn't tell me about the bullies, about the dark at the end of the dark. I was just a suburban phantom using smallness as a way to hide. I was just a wee spark on the asphalt, following balls into the gutter, imagining girls without their arrays. Forgive me, Mother. Forgive me, Father. Though you're both gone, I've never left you. This is a disadvantage out here in the electrical storm, in the abattoir school hallways, in this world full of spooky. Very short poem called About Love, dedicated to my wife, who is also here today. About love. I'd rather write about love, about my wife's hand taking mine for no good reason except that yesterday the world didn't end, and today feels as solid as the earth's first kings. Little poem for my dog, who's also here today. Thank you, Saskia. This is called Dog Inside. The dog comes inside because of the thunder. She hides in Poetry Corner next to volumes of Whitman and Blake. She will not look up, ashamed of her soft cowardice. I want to make her understand how often I go there myself, for poorer reasons, as men have evermore. This is I'm a hero worshiper of many people who do awesome things to the world. One of which is rock music, and the Beatles especially, who I think are small gods. And this is actually a true story, based on a true story. The Beatles once. The Beatles once sought to buy an island, a place to be just Beatles. They shopped. In the end, it came to nothing, and they went home and recorded Revolver. I still like to think about that island, its colorful hot dog stand, its church full of dancers, its electronic wonder wall, and its resplendent army of heavy engineers and trombonists, of curanderos, want-wits and mooks, and people just like you and me. Oh, and our fierce and jerry-built dreams. Next poem is called Like Life. You disappeared the way light does one afternoon when you're all alone with your book. Before you were so present, what happened? Did I love you too little or too much? It bedevils me. I once sat in the dark for 4 hours and did nothing. I thought it was like death, but now, sweet reflection, I see that it was like life. This is a little poem about nature, which I don't know anything about. It's called Politics. As I fill the bird feeder, a blue jay bitches at me about the proliferation of starlings, as if I played favorites. And the cardinal couple is treated just like popes. I admit this is so. Before I return to the house, he says, and everyone, just so you know, hates the squirrels. This is also a true story about my young courting days when I was like, I think I was 20 courting this young woman. It's called Return to Wendy Ward. I went to her door a stranger. Her mother said she was doing homework. Who shall I say is here? She rightly asked. She doesn't know me, I said. Her mother hesitated and then went upstairs. Soon she came down. She was even prettier close up. I was a bold marauder. She could not imagine my passion or gall. Reader, she agreed to a date. Later it would turn out that I wasn't what she wanted. Later I would go mad for the first time. But listen, picture me on that doorstep. I'm about to knock. Freeze that moment. I am one cool cat. I am about to become lost for a long, long time. Another sort of nature poem called Crows. There are crows on the telephone wire like messages from a past that I cannot remember. I wait for them to fly away, but they are as stubborn as hammered metal. I do not think they're portents of death, though I've heard that said. I spoke to them in a language I did not know I knew. They said, "We are not here for you. Everything is not always about you." Fucking crows. The last poem from last year's collection is the title poem, Vitamins for Yggdrasil, and it's dedicated to the novelist Richard Powers. They're feeding vitamins to Yggdrasil, our giant oak, bringing her back to life after a touch of the root rot. Virginia creeper, poison ivy set up shop around her massive ankles, while up above an ecosystem of squirrels and birds and insects bloomed like the first day. Someday, perhaps toward the end of my allotted time, I will ascend Yggdrasil, branch by Halloweeny branch, and when the top looms near, knocking on heaven's door, I will keep on climbing and vanish like a tale that's been told. I'll read 2 poems from this book, A Troubling of Goldfish, which comes out this fall. There's the first one. I play pickleball. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but it's been my salvation. It's better than therapy and a lot cheaper. This is called At Pickleball. Today I chased a wild ball that almost landed in Wonderland, and I sent it back so high and fevered that when it dropped into the far corner of the court, my opponents left and returned to jobs they gave up years ago. Bankers, physicians, left fielders, and gigolos. One more short poem out of this book. It's called Sitting Zazen, and it's dedicated to my guru, friend, and actor Peter Coyote. Pete says, when we sit, the whole world sits with us. And when I sleep, the others slip in, leaving the door slightly ajar. The door lets in too much light, and I awaken. The whole universe is lit with the candles of our collective stillness. And then I'm going to finish up quickly with this is my new chapbook, the Sylvie poem, Sylvie being my granddaughter. And I didn't know that, at the end of my life, I would become this holy creature called a grandfather, but it's the best gig in the world. And I didn't know this was waiting for me. I wouldn't have cried so much about time passing by. The first one is called My Granddaughter, and I read this because it's my sister's favorite poet from this collection. This is a small collection from Right Hand Pointing. If you don't know Right Hand Pointing, check them out. They're on the web. They're one of the best poetry stops on the web. This is called My Granddaughter. I do not relish many things as much as Sylvie's hand resting on my thigh while we watch Bugs Bunny. And I'll finish my reading. Thank you all for coming again with the final poem from my chapbook called For Sylvie, Finally. My heart is old. It is as weary as dull sorrow. Yet this morning I saw a picture of my granddaughter, not for the first time, but it arrested me. Her wild blonde face said, "Look here, old heart." Here and again, here. And I was a breath and a pulse and a man. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Cool. Corey, thank you. Really great reading. Everything I wanted out of a Corey Mesler reading there. I do question what you have against squirrels, though.
No, the birds hate the squirrels.
Oh, the birds hate. Okay, good. So you're on board. And
this is a quote from the Blue Jay, who actually told me that they hated squirrels. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's cool. I just, there was a time once when there was a squirrel inside my house, and my family was very suspicious of my desire to feed it rather than get it out of the house. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with some level of affinity for that particular mammal. I really enjoyed the reading. A lot of great lines in there. The poems for your granddaughter in the new holy being known as a grandfather that you are were really sweet. The line "vanish like a tale that's been told" really landed well on me, and so much else. I'm so glad that we got to do this and got to hear you. I'm pasting some stuff in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen to show the broadside that I made for your poem, which I guess is from your forthcoming collection, A Troubling of Goldfish. This is an 11 by 17 print that folks can download if they would like at the Cobalt Poets website at the link that I just pasted in the chat. And this is how we compensate our featured poets. We ask that you consider, quote, purchasing one of these, which you can do by utilizing Corey's PayPal email, which is right there in the top thing that I posted. A great way to let a poet know that you like what they did is to send them a tip, and that's how you can send them a tip. That's the virtual passing of the hat that you might be familiar with from in-person readings where there might be an actual hat. I don't know. Another great way to support Corey is to pick up any of these books. There's a lot to choose from. I posted a link a little bit later there in my last message to one of the most recent ones from last year, The World is Neither Stacked For Nor Against You. There's an Amazon link and a bookshop.org link, and once you get there, if you click on Corey's name, you have dozens more to choose from. I believe if you go to the burksbooks.com website, there's a whole page of Corey's books there, so that's a great place to go and check them out. So, Corey, thank you again so much for your reading. After literally decades of knowing you online, it's fantastic to hear your voice and hear you read for the first time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. And the broadside is beautiful, but I can't get it off my screen. So all I'm seeing right now is the broadside.
Oh, well, that's because I'm doing a screen share of it, and so that's what's happening. But watch this.
Oh,
See,
look, we're all back.
We're back. I've saved civilization with the click of a button. Round of applause for our featured reader, Corey Mesler. Thank you so much, Corey. Great job. Come back anytime if you got new poems you want to read, participate in our open reading. And I can't recommend enough, you guys, if you're in Memphis, there's some great things to do in Memphis. It's a great city to be in, to see things, to eat food, to listen to music, and to check out Burke's Bookstore as well. A great historic place in a cool neighborhood that's not part of of downtown. So, all right, there you go. I will mention before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading that next week's featured reader will be our very own Denise Dumars, who's here with us for tonight's open reading. So, Denise, looking forward to your reading next week, and I know we'll get to hear from you a little bit as part of tonight's open reading. All right, here's who I have on the list in this order: Jennifer Elise Wang, Sean Mahoney, Lenny Della Rocca, Cathabella, Jackie and Siggy, Ken Scott, Bill Gaines, Linda V.E. Crawford, Gloria Durgee, Denise Dumar, Michael G. Hickey, and Dig Wayne, and me. If anyone else would like to be added to the list, or if I missed you, I apologize. Just send me a message in the chat. I'll be happy to add you. Just as a reminder, 2 poems maximum. Less is more is the suggested time limit, which, well, I'm just going to say that again. Less is more is the suggested time limit. There you go. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, Rick. Rick,
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Before the next reader, I'm going to have to go, but I truly loved all the poems that your other readers read, and I wish I could hang around. But it's 10:15 in Memphis, where I am, which is way past my bedtime. So I apologize for leaving, but I love you all's work, and thank you so much.
Gotcha, Corey. Well, get some sleep. Thanks so much for being here with us. Take it easy, and thanks to the whole Mesler clan who showed up as well.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
All right.
Cool. So Sean Mahoney, you're on deck. Jennifer, hello. Welcome.
All right. Hey, it's International Dance Day, so kind of went and found a poem that's kind of about dancing, also feels a little relevant to the scary times that we're in. This is We Just Wanted to Dance, dedicated for those who called Club Q and Pulse home. We just wanted to dance and possibly experience romance, so please let us live another day. Trans, NB, lesbian, ace, bi, gay. In the club you can't tell with one glance. We just wanted to dance. The runway is the only place we want to slay. To be themselves, we hope every kid can have the chance. So please let us live another day. Our stories are being legislated away by politicians the NRA chooses to finance. We just wanted to dance. If fear and hatred are here to stay, how can our society ever advance? So please let us live another day. Allies, it's time for you to take a firm stance. We don't want sympathy or for you to pray. We just wanted to dance. So please let us live another day. And my second piece, also dancing related. It's been a while since I've shared any pole dance related haikus. I kind of stopped writing them because I was taking time off pole from injury and just other stuff with studios, but found one that I never got around to sharing. So I will share the screen. And for those of you unfamiliar with my polkus, they are haikus written inspired by pole dance trick names, which come from all over the place. So, looks like I can't share screen. Oh, there it can. So this move is called Jasmine, and the haiku is fragrant flower. This jasmine smells more like sweat. Fragrant flower. This jasmine smells more like sweat.
Did you say it was National Dance Day?
International Dance Day.
International. Oh, well, so quite a reach there. Jennifer, thank you so much for that. Thanks for putting that on our radar. Do you want to dance at all for us as part of the festivities?
Maybe not tonight.
Not
I
tonight.
just came back
Okay.
from Ariel's class, so.
Sure.
But yeah, that's also why I threw in the poll picture, because I was like, oh, I'll throw in a picture of me dancing.
There's been a serious lack of pole dancing related poems here in Cobalt for a while, so I'm glad you brought them back in conjunction with International Dance Day today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang. On deck is Lenny Della Roca. Please welcome now Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Rick. Hi, everyone. I have a question. So I have something new for you, but there's a section in it that's parenthetical. And how do you set that off when you're reading to a group of folks online? Is there a hand gesture? Do I spit at the screen? How is it done?
What was the question? How do I do what?
I have a section of the poem that's parenthetical. It's in parentheses.
Oh.
I mean, it's not necessary to set it off. I can just change the voicing for it. But I'm just curious if there's a hand gesture, but like this, you're saying?
Yeah, maybe you do this. Like, instead of like doing quotes, you just kind of like make parentheses. Or, you know, an
Sort
open
of a
parenthesis
Superman
and then a
pose?
closing one.
Okay, I can do that one. This is called With Two Hands. Playthings, defenders, probes, and tools. I walked back down the hall, and in each hand an item, a glass of grapefruit juice, day's mail, and an apple in the other. Not skimming a wall for just-in-case support. Balanced, though not ready for streams, calm, though ill-equipped for monologues, as the shifty memory sifted the sands of my hourglass a decade ago. Extraordinarily similar to our current threat spectacle. Citizens set upon document, set upon self. One lead road for all the Buffalo Runners. Why won't the misled Ed own up to a cripness, embrace the sole of the other shoe, tap the steps and carpets and escalators, and plane ramps with crip soul, crip ice and swagger? One could easily get away with saying, those were not war plans, and this tremendous economy is limp, searching for the suicide gun, cyanide capsule, and injectable happy face mechanism. Playthings, defenders, useless when men arrive, zip tie and spirit me away for having a goddamn sense of humor. The moment carried weight as I am seldom aware of my mischief. My hands zipped behind my broken. Before I type back, know that this misleading adjective, broken, serves to inform the misled, the educated, me, and consume space, For in the interest of all those gathered today, dirty hands are extended to take all yours with empathy, pity, passion, and force. Back, my eyesight in sharp disarray. This is America. Time was I felt connection. Dry it was, keeping me at arm's length while getting groomed and pounded by the man. I had two hands and a mind between, yet I had no power. And I felt truth. The vocal is pain, disparaging air, and so another moment of sleep arrives, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. End piece.
Sean, I have three things to ask you about.
Did I do it wrong? Was
No,
I cramping or
that
something?
was the first thing I wanted to ask you about. Is this indicated that while this was up, everything was in parentheses, as opposed to doing an opening, speaking,
Correct.
and then a close? Okay, got it. I think that's going to be the internet standard. I think we've established it here.
Okay.
Thing number two, is that a photoshopped pic behind you, or did people actually dress up as handmaids and stand in front of the Capitol?
That's from years ago. That's during the first administration. But that actually happened, yeah.
Wow. Well, they should really come back. I think that's the other thing, and I
They
just
shouldn't
wanted to
have to. They should not have to.
They should not have to, but they should anyway. I think.
Yeah. You could
The
make
other
lemonade
thing,
for them.
I just wanted to ask you about this other thing. You want to go on record that you were not a fan of the new "I forgot to close the door to this room" segment.
Yes. There was no arc to it. There was no depth of character, and it was frankly kind of humorless. I wanted more. I was disappointed. Let's just say it didn't have the oomph that I crave in my skit comedy.
Yeah, we didn't run it through the focus groups. We just took a risk, and it looks like that's the way it landed on you. So
I'm not saying
lesson
you have
learned.
to end the show by any means. It just, toss it over your shoulder and move on.
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. Thank you. Well, I appreciate the honest feedback there. I appreciate you being here as well. A round of applause for Sean Mahoney.
Thank you.
On deck is the collab Cathabella Jackie and Siggy. Please welcome now Lenny Della Rocca. Hello, Lenny.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to read a poem that's come about. I have a friend of mine who, when he was at Key West with his family back in the early 1980s, went snorkeling or swimming, and his father never came back. They all went out into the water. They all came back sitting on the sand and like, where's Dad? His father was never found. His body was never found. They never found him. And aside from other tragedies in his life, he just recently lost his wife to cancer, who was a wonderful, wonderful lady. Anyway, that's a little bit of a background to this poem. This is called The Invention of Water and Fire. And it's got an epigraph that says, "Speak according to the madness that has seduced you," which is from Andre Breton. And I guess you pronounce his name Philippe Soupal. I'm not sure. And this is for MH. A man goes into the water and never comes out. When I walk across the room, now that summer is almost here, something glistens on the table where I sit reading poetry to my wife. It's our phones shining, giving back light from the mango trees outside, the white poplar with crows in it. Our shining phones could easily take us to a stranger if we dialed the right number, or to my sister in Tennessee, where once, on a visit, we saw turkeys staggering on the side of the road, a family going home at dusk. I wonder who I might hear whisper if I call some random number. Maybe the man who walked into the water that day and never came back. Maybe he followed those little lights under the waves. Fish with blue bodies and orange faces, flying, darting away in all directions in the blink of an eye. Fish that could be leaves in the fall when they fall to the ground. Silent bells in a sweet gum cathedral, bells of fire that don't burn. Only hush the slick, narrow street until a car goes by, making them leap, twirl in the air like a circus for birds. I think about the couple across the street who moved upstate. We visited them one time in autumn. Trees applauded in fierce colors as we drove, the road humming under tires, our old Chrysler rusting as we drove, smoke on a cold day, rain on a broken smile. They lived up there in a house that smelled like it was still being built. Fresh wood, clean perfume under stars. It was the last we saw them. I know a man who becomes 2 handfuls of fire when he talks about his father and wife. Recently, she walked into the Laurel without her phone. She went swimming in the trees, he says. She'll be right back. Thanks.
Lenny, thank you. Great piece. Great to hear you read in this space. Thank you so much for being here today. Where are you reading to us from, Lenny? Let me unmute you so you can answer that question.
I'm in South Florida. I'm at Delray Beach, it's south side of West Palm.
Keeping Florida safe for us poets down there. Appreciate that. Thank you for being here, Lenny. A round of applause for Lenny Della Rocca. On deck is Ken Scott. Please welcome the collab Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. Hello to all three of you.
Hello, Rick. I will share screen if we can. I'll wait for you. And here we are. I was going to ask you something about this. Something like, do you like those pineapples? How do you like those pineapples? And I think you do. I think you do.
Just those pineapples? Any pineapples? Or
How about these pineapples?
I'll have you know I'm a married man, Cathabella.
Well, here we go. And here's my husband, Rick, playing the shakuhachi, by the way. And here we are. And this was written yesterday. And Jackie will start us off.
Okay. Taking.
Can you see it, Jackie? Is Jackie there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Taking
there you go.
sides. Oh, sorry, this keeps happening. Taking sides. It's childhood all over again. Choosing pineapple over strawberries.
One big pineapple. What do you do with it, I ask. She makes the cut off your head like this sign. And then, what do I say?
Pineapple coleslaw, also for cookies and veggies. Finally ordered to stop. To this day, I remember called her the Pineapple Princess.
Beautiful, Jack.
Egg bites filled with bacon from Starbucks. Bit by bit, I subsidize the hospital meal.
Those egg salad days seem extravagant now. The price of eggs, we serve a feast with one fried egg as a delicacy.
The cook stopped using pineapple for seasoning. Salt and pepper, too. Thanksgiving, the axe came down with the phrase, cardboard, turkey, and fixins.
The clouds, smears of egg white on a blue sky. The way his fingers mar my reputation.
Wow.
Daughter unmarried, announces, not marrying the father of the baby. Why? She waits till later, so no one thinks I had to get married.
Of course. My little Timmy has notorious Christmas stories. Practically born in a Christmas stocking under the tree with a goose egg and a hammer.
The teacher frowned at my ballerina. Draw something you've never done before. Think outside the box.
Research assistant, hearing all the faculty stories, all the put downs of the best teachers, made me decide to be a jeweler instead.
Unable to eat goat stew, visiting in-laws in Liberia. I just can't. She had a good reason, saying the goat's mother was running nearby.
Detouring around prickly cacti. I'll never know the other side of the argument.
So perfect. She taught me about pineapples while walking. Always keep one in the middle of the table, and when it's gone, get another.
Photo of my son running up Manitou, Colorado incline. Me? I don't think so. Out plein air painting. I needed help up 5 wide granite steps.
Parting at the intersection. I lean over as you vanish on a road not taken.
Told, don't come home without spouse. If there's a problem, the wife can fix marriage. Divorced twice.
It made a difference. You think I wouldn't try again? Such a nightmare. But this one proposed and promised to make me laugh every day. And so I did. Here he is.
Hi, sweetie pie.
I'm going to go like this. You can show them your flute quick. There you go. There it is. Yes.
It's shakuhachi, which I've been playing a lot of shakuhachi. The only Japanese bamboo flute. This one is interesting, perhaps, in that it's from the Edo period, which was 1600 to 1868. So it's old. It's old. Maybe 1800. Don't know. Doesn't say.
And it had lots of cracks.
Oh, it has, you know,
Every one of
there's a
those
saying,
knocks.
there are two kinds of shakuhachis, those that are cracked and those that are going to crack. Well, this one is cracked, and it's been repaired in a traditional way with rattan binding, a lot of bindings.
Yep. Thank
That's
you.
more than enough. And
Wonderful.
those are the roots of the bamboo.
Rick just stuck his shakuhachi in our eye. Did you guys see that?
Be careful.
The pineapple of your eye.
There you go. Wonderful, as always. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry I couldn't have the chance to answer your question earlier during the official question and answer period, but I don't think it prevented us from enjoying what you did. Thank you so much, Cathabella, Jackie, Siggy, and Rick. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Rick.
All right, round of applause for the collab. Always great to have you guys on deck. Bill Gaines, please welcome now Ken Scott. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm only going to do one piece. And there is a lot going on with regards to the whole issue of race in this country. And I'm really thankful that Martina Robles Gallegos opened with the piece that she did. I'm going to do a piece that, even though I did this 20 years ago, it is still quite relevant today. And this piece is called Implosion. It all happened down south. It all happened down south. It always happens down south. There is a black hole there. There is a black hole there. There is a black void called African American there. It all happened down south where there is a black hole called slavery and the tribes are beaten black and blue. It all happened down south where there is a black hole called genocide and the tribes are robbed of all cultural identity. It all happened down south where there is a black hole called rape and the tribes bear genetically mutilated offspring, faces of Africans, skin and eyes of European culture butchers. It all happened down south. It all happened so fast. Blink your eyes and over 400 years flowed by and 1 in every 4 of these men are in prison and so many of these women have welfare babies and so many of these so-called brothers gangbang and so many of these so-called sisters are crack prostitutes and so many of these children are fatherless and so many of these fathers are homeless and so many of these mothers are in some storefront church in some rundown ghetto praying some rundown prayer they don't even believe in while some huckster pastor rakes in the bucks and so many of us are drunk and so many of us are dropouts and so many of us are high and so many of us are gay and so many of us are Christian and so many of us are Nation of Islam and so many of us chant and so many of us cheat and so many of us long for Harlem and so many of us dig Leimert Park and so many of us dig the poetry scene and so many of us dig the club scene and so many of us dig one another's graves and so many of us dig our own graves and so many of us fall into the deep darkness, into the deep dark depths, into the deep dark diaspora depths, into the deep dark disenchanted deified demonic diaspora depths of destitute delusion down south. Hospitality veiled thin, draped in fine white gentry, elegantly blinded by genteel fashionability, foolishly ignores the unjust abomination born from the hypocritical womb of her own avarice. Born of that age-old lust called King Cotton, born of that ancient inordinate desire called supremacy, born, raised, and force-fed the usual white Southern hospitality afforded to niggas in those days, yet still the devouring black hole called crisis. It all happened on the crossroads called America. It all happened in that crucible called Confederacy. It all happened in the cultural slaughterhouses called plantation, in the 3/5 compromise, in the Dred Scott decision, in the crushing of Nat Turner's rebellion, or was it Nat Turner's uprising? It all happened so fast. The theft of peoples, the theft of names, the theft of heritage, the theft of cultures, the theft of identities, the theft of tribes forever stolen from a continent called Africa. The theft of names, the theft of who and what from us with no why except greed. I thought the blushing ones were greater than this. You mean to tell me that everything they did to us, to the world, to America, to each other, was all for the sake of greed? You mean to tell me that every war they fought, every empire they built, every other nation they conquered, every other culture they oppressed, was all in the name of greed? You mean to tell me that every church they built, Every prayer they prayed, every other god they plundered, every other religion they destroyed was all for nothing other than greed. There is indeed a black hole in the Deep South, born by the Deep South, who, in all her whiteness, is the black hole that devours humanity. It all happened down south. End piece.
Powerful, Ken. Thank you so much for that. I love being reminded of the spoken word Ken Scott as well from the earlier part of well, the whole thing really. But you really laid into it tonight. We're still fighting the Civil War. It's been my theory for a while.
And unfortunately, it looks like the Confederacy is winning from within Capitol Hill itself. It is truly a disturbing sight to watch Confederate monuments become flesh and blood men. But that's what we're facing.
Yep. Ken, you've always got a safe space here to say what you want to say. So thank you for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. On deck, Linda V.E. Crawford. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hi, Bill.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. I was not prepared to follow Ken Scott. But thank you, Ken, thanks, Ken, for letting me, that's permission for me to shout, which I might do next time, but not right now. I just have a couple. This is called Emo Alien. They sent out hope, but received despair. The dish reports no joy. Cut the funding. Funding's for optimists. We haven't got the time. The minutes and the years, they fly by as one. And look at us tonight, waiting by the phone for the cosmic call, yearning for connection, drowning in hope for a Valentine sweet, but hearing only a sad little song. That's the end of number one. And number two is called An Explosion of Some Sort. 5 gallons of garbage juice I keep in the passenger seat as I speed down the highway at 95. And boy, you better believe that there's an explosion of some sort coming. In my head is a fever, a manic pastiche of memories and reactions. And there's only one cure, and I think you know what that is, little car. I think you know what that is. End of piece.
I really want the answer to be more cowbell. I don't know. For some reason, I was looking at the bulletin board on behind you, Bill, and it sort of looks like the way Saturday Night Live lays out their upcoming hosts and musical guests in Lorne Michaels' office, and it's a system that TV writers use to figure things out. So I had that in my head, and then you said there's only one cure, which is a line from the famous cowbell sketch on SNL. This has nothing to do with what you read, by the way, but that's that is all to say I'm glad you're here, second time here, and I should let you know if you come 3 times in a row, you're officially a regular, and you can never get out of that.
Oh, okay. That's a big commitment. Yeah. I think I'll come back.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Bill Gaines. On deck, Gloria Durgee. Please welcome now Linda V.E. Crawford. Hi, Linda.
Hi, thank you so much. Rick, may I share screen? It's nothing drastic, but just for ease of following. Thank you. Yeah, as I said, just for the ease of following me. In the sliver, tilt your ear to memory. Inhale the forgotten song of whistling frogs, tiny on a moist leaf, blending with sound of stars whispering in warm night, in soft rain, after soft rain. Not the hurricane you ran in, covered in your mother's womb. No, not that sound. Whistling frogs open dreams at night, unlike wood doves in morning glory, cooing love, a yearning beat. At night, little girls dream, they don't know what, don't have a name for it. It's in how grandmothers swab sores on the legs of dying grandfathers, how mothers laugh, touch husbands. Such a beauty in the sliver of gold in teeth, awakening smiles. And I'll read one more, very short. After I got caught picking stewed goat from my side teeth, having said I ate steamed bok choy, fresh fish with white onions and garlic, and told you there's nothing wrong, though one breast was sucking in chemo to kill cancer. I'm not sure what type of lies I tell. I used to say I only tell big lies, you know, the kind big enough to protect you and family. But sometimes I tell little lies, the ones to ease or pass, to let me slip by unnoticed, those to pause your tears, make your day set and rise, ones we'll both forget, that I'll forget and get caught in. Actually, I don't remember which types of lie I tell. Thank you.
It's probably better that way.
Actually.
You know, it keeps, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Plausible deniability? I don't know. Something like that. Great title on that piece too, by the way, Linda. That was fun. And your teeth look fine, no matter what's in there. So there you go. Round of applause.
I didn't give you a trigger warning, by the way.
That's okay. Not necessary. Round of applause for Linda V.E. Crawford. On deck, Michael. No, sorry, Michael, you're on deck to be on deck. Denise Dumars, you are on deck. Please welcome now Gloria Durgee. Hello, Gloria.
Hello, everyone. I have two tonight. The first one is mine, and the second one will be from the infamous ghost himself, my brother-in-law, William Durgee. So the first one is mine. It's called Essence. I am she who would be obeyed. I cannot be played like some old gold horn blues in the shade. I belong to the morn, not night. Light is my goal. It is you who takes flight and disappears in the dark. I am hot and alive and blood strong. I am a woman who inspires song. Too bad you won't go along. You're not that strong, how sad. The one that wanted to learn what it takes to walk through life's fire and not burn away in the oxygen-fueled day. Better hide in the dark, challenged by unseen ghosts, your hosts. Lessons taught by the teacher are just part of your double feature, not at all real, hurts to really feel. Shout out here, my dear, for love is to you just an occasional search for a perfect screw. Sad, but true. But I go on inspiring, and you misfiring. When I'm away, stars will twinkle night and day, but you won't see those silver pieces of my heart strewn in the sky, because I would be obeyed, and you still won't figure out why. And peace. And the second is a gift from my brother-in-law, who has now won the Knighthood Prize and won the Rainmaker Award, and I won't go on with his list of, but I love his poetry, and I'm happy to share William Durgee's poetry. The poem tonight is called The Ghosts in My House. The ghosts in my house are too clever by half. They choose windy days to occupy the rocking chair on the patio and the power outs that flicker and kill the light to come on board. They wait for the cats to dent and warm the pillows before they lay their heads. It's all a clever ruse. They don't really care about making their presence known. They have no message to send. They are content to let us live in comfort without a scare. But I'm not buying it. I tell them the awful news of what's happening today and that I'm scared. And I say that it's all their fault. Of course, they don't answer. Maybe they've taken offense, or maybe they're ashamed. It really makes no sense for them to defend themselves, being powerless to change the past. But I think their silence is just another one of their tricks to let appearance hide the truth. On this side of the veil, I'm just another crazy coot talking to a pillow, to a chair, and to the dark. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. I love, at the very least, if he won't show up here, he admits he's a cruisy coot. And we're going to just keep calling him that until he shows up and tells us otherwise, I think. Thank you. So nice of you to share your brother's work as well as your own. As always, great to have you in this space. Thank you, Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
Round of applause for Gloria Durgi. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hello, hi. I'll just do a couple of short ones. This one's really short. Excuse my regression. Dreams and a certain moon phase. Wolf Neoteny. And this one I just wrote today. Vancouver and the ghosts of the rain. Dry raindrops on the Uber's window, or maybe they were once tears. They say you can't go home again, but what they don't say is that you can never leave it. Fly 1,000 miles to this quaint and not quite real place, all charm and chocolate and cherry blossoms, and the added grace of people who can pronounce my name. Does function follow form? Whatever it was, it followed me, like how J.D. Vance showing up killed the Pope. But the children of Lapu-Lapu, the chief who defeated Magellan, were having the festival. And while everyone else was running on the trails in the woods on this sunny day, then, boom. Losing one's innocence always hurts. And yes, it usually bleeds. Thank you.
A little taste of what we'll have next week when Denise comes back as our featured reader. Hopefully remember to put that candle out behind you when you leave the room. We don't want any disasters preventing you from being here.
Right, and I am going to be at Lit Fest in the Dina on Saturday. Since a lot of you guys live up there, some people might want to come. There's all kinds of things happening Friday night and all day Saturday. And I'm going to be reading with the folks on the little flyer there. And there are also several other poetry readings at this event. So support Lit Fest in the Dina. They're usually in Altadena, but their location, which is normally the Mausoleum, which is a great place to read, is now commandeered by the Army Corps of Engineers, allegedly to clean up there, which I don't know if they've actually done anything. But anyway, so we're at a different place this year. The it says so on their Presbyterian Church of Pasadena or whatever. So maybe I'll see some of you there. If not, then next week. Thank you.
Cool. Well, we're looking forward to it. Looks like a nice reading that's happening there in the Dina. And glad you were here with us tonight. A round of applause for Denise Dumars, everyone. On deck, Dig Wayne. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. I'm going to attempt to share a screen tonight. I ran into a student, former student of mine, who remembered this poem. I'm going to do a short cover and then one of my own. It was Yeah, I like to have a little poetry and fiction in my English 101 classes because most of the other teachers did. They were all lit folks, and I was creative writing. So anyway, let me see if I can get to share screen. It's a poem. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks, who actually was the first African American to win a Pulitzer Prize, which was a decade earlier for Annie Allen in 1950. We real cool. So I knew this poem so well, I didn't even sit at the desk. I would just walk around and look at people hiding in the back row, on their phone and stuff, just walk right up to them and start reading. And there, there's just some context that you had to lay out, in 1960, what the pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel, it might seem a little tame by today's standards, but anyway, okay. So this gave me great street cred, right? Because I didn't have to look in the book. Okay, Gwendolyn Brooks, we real cool. To the pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel, we real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon. And it's fun because you can go back and go through all these lines and explain what thinning gin is, when they used to do that, and lurking late, jazz June. Actually, this poem got banned from a lot of schools because they thought that was a sexual reference. Anyway, love you, Gwendolyn Brooks. We real cool. And all these mistakes being made by these pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel back then, are still going on today. It's just now it's fentanyl and meth. Unfortunately. All right, this is a poem coming out in a book of mine that I think is going to be out in May. Hopefully, we're done with the page design. We're now on the cover design. And it's a poem predicated on a newspaper clipping. This is a real thing, okay? I know some of you know about this. In 2022, the following classified ad in a local Massachusetts newspaper went viral. So this is the actual ad. 1-bedroom apartment, all utilities included, no poets, no smoking, available July 1st. Phone number 802-747-9094. So what I did was I literally called the phone number. That's a different phone number. I changed it. And I talked to the woman, and she said, yes, it was a typo. Of course, it was supposed to be no pets, but she did get one guy who called and was very incensed. Like, what do you have against poets anyway, lady? So it was good to know that at least somebody's out there. All right. So I'm thinking now, let's say, what if they really meant poets? All right. That's what this poem is about. An easy mistake to make. Let's consider for a moment that maybe it really wasn't a typo at all. Maybe apartment management really did mean poets instead of pets. Maybe they were cool with a snake, a cat, even a pet rat. Maybe it really was the poets they wanted to escape, the bards with the berets and perfume cigarettes, their annoyingly high IQs and reckless sonnets of questionable rhyme and meter. They yell villanelles in the middle of the night, assonance, dissonance at all hours, tanked up on tankas, hyped up on haikus. The damn poets are always suffering the angst and rage of a universe they know they cannot save. They are like the doctor who reassures the terminal patient that the condition of this condition of cultural and social condition is nothing an expensive operation won't prolong. Bring all the pets you want, chimps, chinchillas, maybe a baby alligator or two, but God save us from the poets. Save us from their fixed forms, their free verse, their never-ending search for what can never be found. Yes, you can have a parrot or a parakeet. Hell, you can even smoke if you want, but for God's sakes, no poets. Thank you.
It's interesting. I was thinking of instituting a no poets policy at this reading. Just as, what do you think?
Short reading.
Yeah, I guess so. It's saved a lot of time. Only pets, as a matter of fact. That's going to be the event. We're thinking about it. We're still running it through, as we saw earlier with the new segment. We probably need a focus group before we move forward with something like that. But Michael, fun. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
You didn't quite share the screen, but I found a link to a visual of the poem and I posted it into the chat. So I don't know if there was another step missing there. You should go to screen sharing difficulties anonymous dot something, and it'll help you.
I will. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. On deck is Ted Burke. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hi, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. Points, rewards, scan and pay, like and subscribe. Global passes, hit and run drivers. Double shot of my baby's love, priority boarding. Vegan meals for the homeless, bubble gum in your hair, tax on your underwear, a price on your head. Sue Bell in Palm Beach. Rewards of a life sentence without punctuation. Racism as a rite of passage. Poetry under the sea, quarreling only to argue. Billionaire hillbillies calling 911 on mirror balls after curfew. I'm kind of obsessed with high booms right now. There's another short one. It's called Jazz on Earth. The silent crack of lightning opens the sky for Brother Thunder to lay back with that deep downbeat on them dark blue clouds rolling up like reefer madness, so high that dogs can't hear it and elephants better forget it. Equal portions of testify, crickets in the wall talk and jive. Thank you.
Is that what they're doing in there?
Well, I don't know. I guess so.
I mean, but they're using their own language to do so.
But it sounds like jive to me.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that in a way that's not going to get me canceled. So I'm just going to say I'm going to have to take your word for that. Dig, great work. Keep it up with the Haibun. That one was a lot of fun. You got me thinking about all the things I need to check and keep track of in terms of points and things that I deserve because of all of the things that I do. So well done.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rick. You might have a free yogurt coming, you never know. Couple of more punches. They don't punch things out anymore. Remember, you used to get a card, they would punch things out. You bought 5, then you get a free one. I don't think they do that anymore. They've got some other, it's all techno now somehow.
Right. There's very little punching. It's all, you put your phone number in and then they text you every day and then maybe you get a free yogurt. But that only applies at yogurt shops, I should say. Other places provide other things.
That's true.
Dig, we could talk about this for hours, I'm sure, but I'm going to get on to the next reader. Great to hear you, as always. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, my pleasure.
Round of applause for Dig Wayne. I have to remember to punch Dig's card so he gets credit for tonight. He gets a free Cobalt in two more times, I think. James Everett Jones, you're on deck. Please welcome now Ted Burke. Hello, Ted.
Hey everybody, thanks for a terrific reading. Featured reader Corey, fantastic, and I've enjoyed everything I've heard tonight. So thanks for letting me be a part of this. I'm going to read 2 poems. One is called Paul's Voice. It's dedicated to San Diego, and then a Portland poet named Paul Dresman passed away recently at the age of 82. He was my poetry instructor and my mentor, and when I was graduate student in UCSD, if it hadn't been for him, I probably would not have continued to write poetry. He kind of said, let's find the thing in here. He would take all these big, masses of typing I would give him, and he would take a blue pen and circle these things. Let's find the poem that's in here. Let's find those things that connect in ways that they don't connect. He's kind of a very Zen guy. I wrote the poem. He passed away recently. I've been having difficulty writing something about him, and it was a tribute, but this is a start. It's called Paul's Voice, and it's because Paul Dresman had one of the best voices I've ever heard, and 50 years of listening to poets of all kinds, famous and and not famous. And this is a description of a voice that animated, and I wanted to be like that. I wanted to sound like this. So Paul's Voice. Your voice resounds with the honey on the rock and the sweetness on the vowels. The chambers of the heart echo, the perfect vanities of desire that makes a room full of strangers yearn to live in the rhythm of the vibe of being there. Your voice whirls and caresses the similes and allows the metaphors to live in the air and exist independent of the paper. The grain of the wood smoothed over with cigarettes and many beers, and the slight gravity age brings to the surface of all things. The lines on the page become a string of notes heard in the middle of Coltrane's My Favorite Things. The silence of Cohen's You Have Yet the Dream. The symphonies of birds give you in the morning. When the lawn is damp and the sun rises over the mountains, you approach with impossible questions. These are the sounds that follow me into the day and on to the night and slumbering till the morning that comes. These are the words lifted with your reading aloud in spite of all desire and curl up and wither. You speak, you live, and you get to write it all down. And this one was written a few years ago at about 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep. And brain is racing, and I just went to the keyboard and started rattling off what was spinning around my head at that hour in the morning. It's called She Holds the Phone. She holds the phone while the earth stammers in the dark center. God will not refund your deposit. A phone booth at the edge of the desert that takes you to Las Vegas. She hangs up to see who's at the door. Jesus and Joseph sneak out the back door as Mary snores through another Law and Order marathon. Our car wash next to the oil derricks. You think now is the time for all good men to drop the act and undo the Velcro fly, holding their pants up. Universe expands while the dollar shrinks. What's in your wallet besides a dried out condom in a blistered wrap? Her text messages fidget with a bad finger's impatience. God is forgetting names of grandchildren, and what time of day will it be tomorrow? Joseph and Jesus and Joseph leave their halos on a cracked dashboard. She says to come to her, and you slip into a convenient coma. His wit is so dry that it's a fire hazard in 5 states. Planets spin to a music that is just downright rude. Thank you.
Ted, thank you. I think this is your 3rd time here. You were a featured reader, and now you've been here twice as a regular citizen of poetry, which I think, I don't know if this was your intention, but you're now officially a regular at the Cobalt. Oh, this is your 4th time here. Oh my God. We missed, you should be complaining that you didn't get your certificate and membership card at this point. Great, really great that I'm honored. I like your work a lot, which is why I invited you to read a little while ago, and I'm honored that you find this space one that makes you want to come back and read poems in the open. Thank you so much for being here.
This is a fabulous gathering of poets, and I really love the fact that you have regulars who show up in lots of different voices, a lot of different, backgrounds, people from different regions, accents, points of view, and we're all trying to figure things out, and just what's it like to be alive? Angry, mad, sad? It just doesn't matter. But you give it voice, you write it down, and you say that. You say it, and you just say, I think you said it just a few minutes ago, but this is the safe place, because if we stop speaking this, if we stop speaking truth to power, we're screwed. Because our voices is all we have. Our voices are all the other people can hear. And it's the voices that I've heard and read and have gotten me active in this life. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm going to be 38 years sober. And it wasn't until I got, I finally recognized an essential truth that I started living in the real world, life in life's terms. And the thing is that we're not a doormat. I do what I can, and I don't make promises I can't keep. I do what I can, but the action has, your words, in my view, have to be consistent and congruent. And this is my tribute to Paul, who told me at least a form of truth telling that I've always adhered to. And I'm going to be quiet now, but thank you for having me.
A lot of people resonating with what you're saying. Thank you so much for that, Ted, and for being here, and looking forward to having you here next time. Round of applause for Ted Burke. Truth to power. I'm on deck to close out the open reading. Please welcome now James Everett Jones. Hello, James.
How you doing, Rick? Awesome. I've been doing poetry readings for, I think, close to 35 years. Wow. It's been fun. I think the only person who's done more than me would be Rick, actually. But through those years, I've had a wonderful, wonderful partner. Her name was Dorothy Marler. And Dory was always delighted to hear anything that even the flimsiest view of poetry that there was, she loved unconditionally. And she passed 2 years ago during COVID, and I wanted to read this in homage to her. It is a poem that she wrote. It's entitled "Tell Them." When you tell them about me, tell them I was a good cook and that I planted flowers. Tell them that I liked to sing. When you tell them about me, say I tried to be fair and kind to everyone. Tell them I wanted to be a good friend. And when you tell them about me, tell them I love the company of those who read, and I am humbled in their presence. When they ask about me, When they ask about me, tell them I knew how to dance and that I loved young men who were beautiful. When they ask, tell them I adored Rachmaninoff and B.B. King. When they ask about me, tell them I told off-color jokes, that I loved fresh figs and champagne in crystal glasses. Tell them I cried at the opera and that I saw Nureyev dance. Tell them I swam in the Pacific and the Atlantic. Tell them I once was blonde and slender as a reed. Tell them I loved my babies and children of all ages. If they ask about me, tell them I wanted a bountiful world, free of war for them, with clean air and fresh water. If they ask about me, tell them I wanted to see and feel all the beauty and wonder that a heart can hold. Tell them I wanted to know everything and everyone. Tell them I wanted to swallow the world. But if they ask, but only if they ask. Thank you.
James, thank you. I have vivid memories of Dory reading that actual poem places in the valley, maybe even at the Cobalt. But I definitely know that piece from her voice, and thank you for keeping her memory alive by sharing that somewhat prophetic piece with us tonight.
Thank you.
And I think you may have the edge of me in terms of time. I feel like I read for you somewhere on Melrose, like at least at the very earliest.
Let me see. That would be either Highland Grounds, which was on Highland.
It wasn't Highland Grounds.
Or Java Joint, which was on Melrose.
It was probably Java Joint.
Yeah. Java Joint was a cool little place.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this all these decades, James. Thank you for being here tonight. Round of applause for James Everett Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here, James. Thanks for sharing the work of Dory. I'm going to close out with 2 poems. This is one I wrote on the last night of our visit in the city of Naples, which was the last night we spent in the country of Italy before we just took a quick diversion on the way home to Paris from my book, It Spritz O'Clock Somewhere. This is called At the Place Where Margherita Pizza Was Invented. Brandy, our last pizza in Italy. Not crowded, but better than the ones we made ourselves last night. They cut it in half for us. We could almost pick it up. No need for forks and knives, as if they knew we were going home soon and they wanted to ease us into it. Addie wishes she was hungry enough to get eggplant parmesan, but that's not why we are here. A pizza every night for 4 nights. That's why we are here. No need to eat again. A little kid at the other table who I've been performing for, all pizza, just dropped his stuffed rabbit on the floor. He dropped it again. He dropped it again. He dropped it again. Now he's trying to stick the bottle cap on his forehead, just like I did. That 4-year-old is my new best friend. My body is still working through the limoncello spritz from the other place. Last limoncello. Rooftop. There is Vesuvius. There is Sorrento. Music below. Live. The bay. The Naples Bay. We are now 93% pizza. 7% limoncello. Whatever came before is for them to discover in the future. There you go. I get really nostalgic at the end of these trips where I spend a lot of time making a lot of silly observations, and then I start feeling this heavy weight that it's ending, and I'm going to have to go back home to my regular life. So that's a common theme in my travel poem books. Another one coming out soon called High Moose Alert, written in Alaska and Canada last summer. I want to close with this one poem for this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is a tough one because a lot of it is descriptions of really disgusting skin conditions and other things in people's bodies or that come out of people's bodies, and various laws that the rabbis of old applied to these things, and when you have to cleanse yourself. So whenever rabbis get up at services and this is that Torah portion, it's kind of like it's a challenge. And in my case, I write these poems a week before the week that the text is read, and I send them off to a guy at the Jewish Journal, which is a print newspaper here in Los Angeles, who then has to come up with a design for the poem based on the title or the text or whatever. So with that in mind, the text that this is responding to is, "And will remain ritually defiled until nightfall." And the title of the poem is, "Good luck to the designer who has to come up with an image for this poem." Suffice it to say, which is a terrible way to begin a poem, if it is inside you and it comes out of you, be prepared to check out until nightfall. If this is the kind of thing you do a lot, see if a frequent discount is available at the mikveh. Mikveh is like a ritual bath that people go in. Be thankful this is just words, as no one needs visuals here. This affects the chairs and other things you sit on, so if you have guests over, well, at this point you shouldn't have guests over. This affects the things you ride on. I'm not going to get into what those might be. You're going to need a deep cleaning, an immersive cleaning. A Roomba is not going to cut it. A brand new holy space just got assembled. You don't want to defile it so soon into our story. A reminder of this will come every year, but only in words. There you go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic evening of poetry. Tonight, I want to thank our featured reader, Corey Mesler, who took off because it was past his bedtime in Memphis. I know some of you are on the East Coast, and actually, we used to have a lot more East Coasters than we do these days. I guess we've gotten past everybody's bedtime. But Lenny was here from Florida, but even he had to cut out. Anyway, thank you, Corey. If you're watching this in the future, this end of this reading, there's the stuff I pasted earlier. You can tip Corey for his reading via PayPal. At the PayPal email ID that's there. You can download the broadside for Corey's poem at the Cobalt Poets website at that link. Once there, click on calendar to see who's coming up in future weeks. Next week, as mentioned, Denise Dumars is our featured reader. Looking forward to having our own regular Denise in the featured reading spot. And finally, if you haven't done so already and you would like to, click on email list on that website, and you can add your email and get the 2 emails that go out every week, which I try to send out at the same time every week. The one on Tuesday is supposed to go out noon Pacific time, but apparently it went out at midnight Pacific time last night because who has the time to pay attention to all these details? I don't know. It still worked. Finally, for Corey, there's his website, or his bookstore's website, burksbooks.com. Definitely recommend checking it out if you have the chance to go to Memphis. It's a cool spot that's been there since the late 1800s, 1875, I think it was. And there's a couple links to one of his books where you can check out even more of his books. Thank you all so much for being here. Great open reading, lovely sense of community. Tonight, I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button, so feel free to say hi to each other.
I'll be East Coast next week.
Hi, each other.
Me too. Okay, I'm out.
Good night.
I happened to.
And then what about this weekend with the Erotic Art Festival?
Well, we'll talk about that for sure. I don't know. Yeah, for right now, I'm having a great time with the
Oops.
I have
Good night, everybody.
A free haircut thing here. You receive 1 punch for per full price haircut. I'm almost halfway there, and it has these nice little stars across here. So I'm going to keep this in my back pocket if I happen